Hello and welcome, dear ones. It's me, Maverick Mystic, and welcome to this tarot reading from the Spiritual Society. And remember, it's our mission at the Spiritual Society to help guide you to unblock your energy through spiritual practices like tarot readings so that you can live your most aligned life. So today, we'll be exploring the question, what were they thinking and feeling the last time you connected with them? This reading is designed to provide insights into your recent interaction with the underlying currents of your connections, helping you really unblock any emotional or energetic obstacles. Our spread's going to consist of 7 piles. Each is going to be represented by 2 cards, forming a real journey through the aspects of your interaction. The first one we're going to be looking at is the connection itself, the anchor for the reading. That'll be the anchoring card. Next, we're going to look at the surface reactions of your person. Next, the internal sensations, feelings, emotional landscape. The unspoken truths will be next. Then we're going to be looking at some deeper reflections, the lingering impressions that this connection has left on them, and then some future intentions that this person may have as a consequence of this interaction and the connection. We'll conclude with a guidance from the Divine Feminine Oracle, offering a final perspective on your situation and help to sort of see how this relates to your energy alignment with this person. As we move through the reading, remember that tarot is a really powerful tool for unblocking energy and really gaining that clarity. It offers possibilities and insights to help you navigate your path. So trust your intuition and take what resonates with you. This reading aims to provide a deeper understanding of your connection and offer guidance for your journey forward, ultimately helping you live your most aligned life. So let's begin our exploration of the cards and uncovering the energies and the emotions present during your last interaction, and discovering how this understanding can contribute to unblocking your energy and achieving greater alignment in your life. Now, in a moment, I'm going to ask you to choose from one of the 4 cards in front of us here today. We'll start with number 4. We'll work our way backwards here. 3, number 2, or number 1. So just go ahead, use your intuition now to guide you. Choose one of the 4 cards in front of you, and when you're ready, we shall begin. Hello and welcome in card number 1. And we're going to be beginning this reading with the anchoring card, to get a real sense of the energy associated with this connection. The last time they saw you, what were their feelings, what they're thinking. And we'll set the scene with this first card, and it is the Queen of Cups. So as I read out this reading, or this particular card, if you resonate with it, then stick with it. This is the pile for you. But if not, I'd love you to go ahead and choose from a different pile. Okay, so the Queen of Cups, as a sort of energy check here, it suggests that during your last connection, they were in a state of emotional awareness and intuitive receptivity, we could say. It indicates that there was this sort of deep capacity for understanding and processing feelings. Did you notice any moments where they seemed particularly attuned to your emotions? Were there sort of instances where they offered maybe support or understanding without you having to sort of explicitly ask? Is that kind of tuning in, we could say. They might have picked up on your mood, or maybe they adjusted their sort of approach accordingly. For instance, if you were feeling stressed, they may have sort of naturally shifted to a more calming demeanor. Perhaps they brought up a sort of topic that had been on your mind, that kind of intuitive knowing, even though you hadn't even mentioned it, demonstrating that sort of deep connection with you. So it also suggests that they were sort of balancing their emotional openness with a sense of boundaries as well. Is what I pick up here. They likely felt comfortable exploring deeper feelings, but also maintained a level of emotional self-control at their level. Did you sense any moments where they seem to be sort of holding back despite, an overall openness, we could say? So there's that sort of little bit of a balance, we could say, going on there. They might have shared a personal insight or a feeling, but they did so in a sort of measured way that may sort of invited reciprocation without sort of demanding it. And so this card to me indicates that they were likely in a sort of a nurturing state of mind, possibly feeling protective or supportive towards you as well. However, Queen of Cups energy is not about sort of losing oneself in the emotions, but rather about understanding and navigating them skillfully. There's a maturity to this in the emotional space, we could say. So overall, this card, I think, sets a tone of emotional intelligence and depth for the reading as we go on. Suggests that your last interaction was definitely marked by a genuine feeling, perceptiveness, and a capacity for deep understanding on their part. Okay, all right. Let us now move on to the first pile, really, and this is like surface reactions. Okay, so we're looking at surface reactions, and we have the World and the Three of Cups, and so to me it suggests that there's sort of surface reactions during your last connection were overwhelmingly positive and expansive, we could say. Did you notice any visible signs or excitement or joy in their demeanor? How would you describe their sort of body language during these interactions? Did their reactions seem more enthusiastic or open than usual? They might have had a particular bright smile or laughed more readily than usual, indicating that there's a sense of ease, happiness in your presence. Perhaps they were more tactile as well, reaching out to touch your arm or give you a hug, showing this sort of desire for connection. The World card in particular, in this context, suggests that on the surface they appeared, content, fulfilled. This could have sort of manifested as a calm confidence or a sense of being completely present in the moment with you. Were there any moments that they expressed a sense of everything falling into place? That could have been one of the sayings that they used to describe this sort of feeling, this energy. They might have spoken about future plans or shared aspirations with an air of sort of certainty or optimism. The Three of Cups also brings an energy of celebration in there and sort of social joy. So in terms of these surface reactions, this could indicate that they were visibly happy to be in your company, eager to engage. Did they suggest any plans for the future, sort of get-togethers or activities? And so overall, I think the combination for the surface reaction suggests that outwardly they appeared joyful, content, eager to connect. Their reactions likely conveyed a sense of celebration, both of the moment where you were sort of sharing in life in general, sharing things, and they may have seemed particularly open and engaged and happy to be in your presence. All right. Okay. Next, we're going to be looking at next we're going to be looking at internal sensations, internal feelings. What was going on for them internally? This was the surface pile. Now let's have a look what's going on internally for them. Okay, so we have the Three of Wands and the Page of Wands. And so these cards to me suggest that there was a combination of experiencing a mix of anticipation, excitement, and a spark of new energy. Did you sense any underlying excitement or maybe some restlessness in their demeanor? Were there sort of moments where they seemed, lost in thought, or if they were contemplating future possibilities? They might have felt a flutter of excitement in their stomach, like the sensation of embarking on a new adventure. It's those kind of vibes that I'm picking up here. Perhaps they experience a surge of warmth or energy when discussing these future plans or possibilities with you. So these are, again, remember, these are the internal sort of sensations that they may have been going through. The Three of Wands indicates to me there's a sense of anticipation. This is like looking towards the horizon. Internally, they may have been sort of feeling a mix of accomplishment for what's been achieved so far, coupled with that sort of excitement for what's to come as well. Did they mention any future plans to you, any goals during your last interaction? Was there a sense that they were seeing your connection as part of a broader life journey? Okay. They might have felt a sense of expansion in their chest, as if their sort of heart and lungs were filling with the promise of new opportunities. And the Page of Wands, it brings in an energy of enthusiasm as well, and again, this new beginnings, and internally, this could really translate to these feelings of sort of restlessness or desire to take action. Did you notice any signs of maybe some nervous energy or enthusiasm that they were trying to sort of contain? Were these moments where they seemed particularly passionate or fired up about a topic that you remember? I think overall with these two cards, the combination for internal sensations are here suggests that that beneath the surface, they were really feeling a mix of anticipation, excitement, inspiration, and they likely felt energized by your interaction. And they may have been experiencing an internal urge to explore new possibilities or take action on certain ideas. There's definitely a sense of looking towards the future with optimism and enthusiasm, possibly seeing your connection as a catalyst for growth or new adventures. Yeah, so that's the sort of energy that I'm picking up that's going on for them internally. Next, we're going to be taking a look at the unspoken thoughts. So, this is the ideas and thoughts that are running through their mind and that last connection. And we have the Eight of Wands and the Nine of Cups. And with these cards, in particular, let's start with the Eight of Wands. I mean, generally, these two, I think it's a really powerful combination here. I think there was definitely filled with a rush, a rush of like positive emotions, really carrying over from the last part that we explored there. Did you notice any moments where they seemed to be sort of holding back from expressing something significant? There was like an anticipation, a sort of pressure, if you will, within them. Were there instances where their eyes or expression hinted at more than they were saying? Did you sense that there's an underlying excitement or satisfaction that wasn't fully verbalized? That's maybe some of the things that you were picking up on. They might have been thinking that everything is falling into place so quickly. I'm thrilled about where this is going. Perhaps they were mentally sort of noting how satisfied they felt in your presence, thinking this feels really right, and like all my wishes are coming true, etc. It really indicates this swift movement and progress in the realm of unspoken thoughts. So this could suggest a sort of rapid flow of ideas and feelings. Did the pace of their interactions feel particularly energetic or fast moving? Were they moments where they seemed to be processing information or emotions quickly? They might have been thinking, I want to share so many things with you right now, but I'm not sure where to start, for example. The Nine of Cups brings an energy of emotional satisfaction, which is slightly different to this sort of this energy here. It's like a wish fulfillment. There's this the unspoken thoughts could be suggesting here that they were experiencing a deep sense of contentment, possibly even counting their blessings. Did you notice signs of them savoring the moment or seeming particularly grateful? Were there sort of unspoken indicators that they felt emotionally fulfilled in your presence? Sort of richness about the connection. Overall, I think this combination for again these unspoken thoughts, indicates that internally they were likely experiencing a real rush of positive emotions and realizations. They have been thinking about how quickly things were progressing and feeling a sense of emotional fulfillment. There's definitely a suggestion that they felt, their wishes were being realized, possibly in relation to your connection. But they may have been keeping these sort of thoughts to themselves, perhaps to sort of savor the moment, or maybe out of a desire not to sort of rush things, potentially conscious of how this anticipation or excitement of theirs may make them perceived a certain way, maybe rushing things, that kind of thing. They're maybe holding back because of that. Okay, all right. So the next part we're going to be exploring these sort of deeper reflections. So this is some of the immediate, accessible, heightened emotions that were being expressed or felt at the time, but the more deeper ones, the sort of, if we could say, bigger picture or archetypal kind of energies we find here with the Six of Cups and the Page of Cups. Interesting, the cups keep coming here. And we're getting again that sense of like newness as well, but also in this particular case, there's a bit of a memory back, a flashback, or a contrast here with nostalgia, which is these old memories and these new old feelings, new feelings. Right? There's this balance going on here, but it's sort of nostalgia and emotional renewal. I think that's probably the best way to describe it. There's a sense of innocence about it as well, in particular with the Six of Cups. Did you notice any moments where they seemed sort of lost in memories? Again, see, this is what's coming up for me, is these lost in memory, where they kind of looking back in their mind's eye, at moments. Were there any instances where they maybe expressed childlike wonder or excitement? These are the kind of things to be sort of being observant of, because this is what I'm picking up. They might have been reflecting on the sort of purity and the simplicity of your initial connection, thinking that this reminds them of when you first met, but with sort of new depth, we could say. Perhaps they were contemplating how your relationship has evolved, with thoughts of like, you've come so far, yet there's still this sort of freshness to how you interact. The Six of Cups in particular, like I said, about nostalgia, past connections, innocence, it suggests that they were likely revisiting fond memories of past experiences. Did they mention any childhood memories, for example, or past events that seemed particularly meaningful? They might have been thinking that there's something so familiar or comforting about this connection, yet it feels also new and exciting at the same time. So this real polarity or duality, we could say, going on here, which is really powerful. The Page of Wands brings an energy of, again, newness, new emotional beginnings, creativity, also intuition. As part of their deep reflection, this suggests to me that they were open to new emotional experiences and possibly feeling a renewed sense of wonder. Did you sense any underlying vulnerability or openness to emotional exploration at the time? Overall, I think that this combination for deeper reflection indicates that internally they were likely experiencing a blend of nostalgia, new emotional beginnings. They may have been reflecting on past experiences or shared history, while simultaneously feeling a sense of renewal, openness to new emotional depths. And there's a suggestion of innocence and purity in the reflection, possibly seeing your connection as a source of both comfort and exciting new possibilities. Okay, right, now let us turn to the next pile. And for this one, we're going to lingering impressions. These were the sort of thoughts that stayed with them for a little while after that last connection. And we have the Nine of Pentacles and the Seven of Swords. Interesting, different contrasting energies coming through here. And so with these cards, we're looking at those lingering impressions. It's an intriguing combination, really suggested here. It suggests a real contrast between sort of outward stability in the King of Pentacles and the inner turmoil in their sort of lingering impressions of your last connection. I would ask, did you notice any sort of disconnect between their sort of composed exterior and that potential inner conflict? Was there anything noticeable? Were there sort of moments where they seemed to be sort of grappling with decisions or concerns beneath this sort of calm surface? Maybe you sensed an underlying anxiety despite their sort of attempts to project this confidence. They might have been maintaining that strong position, maybe that supportive presence, while internally they were wrestling with fears or insecurities about the relationship. Perhaps they were projecting confidence in the sort of ability to provide support to you, but I think privately they were sort of worrying if they could meet the perceived sort of expectations, or maybe the expectations that they set for themselves. The King of Pentacles really presents this sort of mastery of the material realm, this stability, reliability. And I think in the context of the lingering impressions, that to me suggests that they were likely focused on practical aspects of the connection. Did they discuss, for example, any, or maybe seem preoccupied with some practical matters related to the relationship? Was there a sense that they were trying to sort of balance emotional and practical considerations? Some questions to consider. They might have been thinking, I want to offer stability and security in this relationship, but I'm unsure if I can live up to my expectations. I think this is the lingering sensation or thought pattern that they were left with. The Nine of Swords, however, this brings an energy of anxiety and worry and mental anguish, and as part of this lingering impressions, this to me suggests that they were, like I said, grappling with some inner fears or concerns. Did you notice any signs of restlessness or maybe some sort of troubled thoughts beneath their sort of composed exterior? Were there any moments where they seemed to be overthinking or over analyzing aspects of the interaction? I think overall, this combination for lingering impressions to me indicates there's a complex internal state. On one hand, they likely felt a strong desire to be stable, reliable presence in your life. And on the other, I think they may have been dealing with some internal worries, possibly about the relationship, but mainly I think it's about their role in it or their ability to meet certain standards that they've set for themselves. And I think this could have left them with a mixed confidence and anxiety as they sort of reflected on your connection. Overall though, I think it's not necessarily a bad thing. When we put ourselves to these high standards of being protectors, providers, it causes some internal turmoil of, am I good enough, essentially? So I think really we're looking at the shadow aspect of this person, in the context of being able to be a good partner in this connection. All right. So next, we're going to be looking at the future expectations, all right, of this connection for this person. And we have the Eight of Pentacles and the Hierophant. And the combination here to me suggests that their future intentions are focused on dedication. We sort of had a hint of that in the last card with the King of Pentacles. And so there's an intention of focused dedication here, skill building, or at least aligning with traditional values and structures. That's the sort of combination that I think that we see here. Did they express any intentions to work on themselves, perhaps, or maybe on the relationship? Were there any discussions about commitment or long-term plans in that last meeting? Did you see any desire from them to, deepen their understanding of relationships in general or sort of personal growth? They might be planning to sort of invest more time and effort into the relationship, thinking that, I want to work on building a strong foundation for us, for example. Perhaps they were considering ways to align your connection with their core values or their beliefs, such as introducing you to important people in their life or discussing shared goals, those kinds of things. The Eight of Pentacles really is all about diligence and craftsmanship and a focus on improvement. In terms of future intentions, this to me suggests that they're likely planning to put, consistent effort into the connection. Therefore, did they mention, any sort of aspects of themselves that they want to develop? Was there a sense that they see the relationship as something to be carefully cultivated over time? It's that long-term sort of intentionality to it. They might be intended to learn more about, effective communication, emotional intelligence, enhance the connection overall, those kind of things, right? So it's something to be aware of. Is what's coming up for me here. The Hierophant definitely brings an energy of tradition, spiritual wisdom, conformity to sort of established structures, that kind of thing. So as part of their future intentions, to me it suggests that they may be considering more formal or traditional aspects of the relationship. They express, for example, an interest in learning from the relationship experts or seeking guidance, that sort of wisdom seeking. Were there any sort of hints at wanting to integrate the relationship into their sort of broader social or familial structures? Look, overall, I think the combination for future intentions here indicates that they are likely planning to approach your connection with dedication and a desire for growth. And I think they may see the relationship as something to be carefully crafted and improved over time. Additionally, I think that there's a suggestion here that they want to align the connection with traditional values or seek guidance from established source of wisdom, whatever that may mean. And they might be intended to create a sort of stable, meaningful bond that fits into a larger life framework. All right, so those are some of the messages that I'm getting there from that last connection. And what I wanted to do now is turn to the final oracle card. This is the Divine Feminine Oracle, and in this case, it's Diana. And so Diana, the queen of the wilderness, also known as Artemis in Greek mythology, is the goddess of the hunt, the moon, and nature. And she represents independence, intuition, and the sort of wild feminine energy. Are there aspects of independence or personal growth that seem particularly relevant to your situation in this connection? How might embracing your own inner wilderness or wildness or intuition affect this connection? All right, so these are some of the sort of questions that are coming out from this card for me. I think this card might be encouraging you to trust your instincts about the relationship, suggesting that your intuition is a powerful guide. So, listen to it, I would say. Perhaps it's advising you to maintain your independence within the connection. Maybe nurture your own goals and your passions alongside this relationship, or at the very least, don't sort of put them aside and forget about them. I'd say nurture your own goals is and passions is definitely something that would serve you well at this time. Diana's energy often is associated with self-reliance and the sort of ability to navigate through emotional landscapes. How can you balance intimacy with personal freedom in this connection? Are there any areas where you feel you need to sort of reclaim your power or maybe assert your boundaries? Another specific sort of thing here, I think this card might be suggesting for you to embrace your wild, authentic self, allow yourself to be fully seen and appreciated for who you are. I think that would be a good litmus test for the relationship if you can show up as such. The moon aspect of Diana also relates to cycles and sort of intuitive wisdom. So how might, acknowledging the natural ebbs and flows of relationships in general enhance your connection here? In what ways can you sort of tap into your inner wisdom to guide you in this relationship? Again, is that call for intuition not to be forgotten at this time. So overall, I think this card, Diana, as a sort of final guidance suggestion, it's really suggesting embracing your independence, trusting your intuition, and honoring your authentic, wild self within this connection. And I think it's really encouraging you to maintain your own identity and your goals, not to lose yourself into the relationship while nurturing the relationship at the same time. I think this card also reminds you of the power of this sort of cyclical change and the importance of staying true to your wild, natural self. And so I think the appearance here of Diana might be sort of advising you to approach this connection with confidence in your own worth, to trust the timing of things, and to allow both of yourself and the other person the freedom to be genuine and to evolve and to not be afraid of change. All right. Well, look, I hope this has served you. I'd love to know if it has, and if it has, why don't we go ahead and drop a cup. Let's drop a cup into the comments. Let me know that you're claiming this reading here today. Thank you for trusting me again, Maverick Mystic, for this reading, and I look forward to doing it again soon. Take care. Hello, welcome in card number 2 to this your reading. So let us start with the anchoring card and to establish an energy check here for this reading. If you resonate with what's coming through this card initially, then please stick with the rest of the reading. If not, I'd love you to go ahead and choose from one of the other piles. All right, so let us begin. Great opening card, the Sun. And so, this is a very powerful card of positivity, of vitality, clarity, joy. And in the context of this reading, focusing on what they were thinking and feeling during your last connection, I think this card suggests a very optimistic and energetic state of mind. Did you notice? Did you notice a particular sort of bright or positive energy from them during your last connection? Were there sort of moments where they seemed especially confident or self-assured? Did you sense a newfound clarity or understanding in their approach to your connection? Um, they might have felt a surge of warmth and happiness in your presence, like, really basking in actual sunlight. And perhaps they experienced a moment of clarity about their feelings for you. Maybe it's sort of suddenly sort of seeing everything in a new positive light. The sun card really indicates this sort of illumination, this success and joy. And in the context of your connection, I think this could suggest that they felt a sense of accomplishment or maybe satisfaction about where things stand between you two. Did they express any feelings of optimism about your relationship or shared future? Was there a sense of things coming to light or being revealed during your interaction? They might have been thinking, everything feels so clear, right, and right when we're together. I could see a bright future ahead of us. These are some of the contextual sort of ideation that may have been going on in that last connection that you guys had. The sun also brings an energy of vitality and growth, and they may have felt particularly alive and energized in your company. Okay, how would you describe the energy levels during your last connection? Did they seem more open and did they seem more transparent than usual? Overall, the sun as the anchoring card suggests that during your last connection, they were likely in a very positive, clear-minded, and energetic state, and they may have felt a sense of joy and optimism about your relationship. Without any doubts or concerns, temporarily sort of banished, if there were any, by the warmth of your interaction. And this card really sets the tone for positivity and clarity and growth for the reading. All right, so let us get into that now. Okay, so the next pile, we're looking at the sort of surface reactions, okay, in that last connection. That's surface reactions. So we're not going to go too deep just yet. So we'll start with the surface reactions. I think this is a very powerful combination with the Ten of Pentacles and the Emperor. It suggests that their surface reactions were characterized by a strong sense of structure, authority, maybe some long-term stability vibes is what I'm getting here. Did you notice them taking on a more sort of authoritative or protective stance during your interaction? Were there any sort of discussions or visible reactions related to long-term plans or financial stability? How did they react to topics involving family, tradition, or established structures? These are some of the questions that I would be sort of probing and asking with and contemplating at this time. These are all happening on the surface, we could say. They might have appeared particularly, composed, in control, perhaps sitting up straighter or speaking with more authority than usual. Their even facial expressions or their body language, may have shown a sort of sense of pride or satisfaction when discussing achievements or maybe future plans within the connection. The Emperor really represents leadership, structure, and authority. And in terms of the sort of surface reactions, I think this suggests that they may have been sort of projecting an air of confidence and control. Did they seem to, take charge of any aspects of your interaction? Or maybe, authority in terms of future planning? Were there sort of moments where they appeared to be carefully considering the consequences of certain decisions? They may have even reacted with sort of visible approval of ideas that aligned with their sense of order or long-term goals, perhaps sort of nodding firmly or, leaning in with interest and sort of in that eager way. The Ten of Pentacles brings an energy of long-term success with it as well. So I'm thinking like family legacy, material abundance. So as part of their surface reactions, this could indicate visible satisfaction with the ability or the stability and the potential of your connection. Did you notice any sort of reactions that suggested that they were envisioning a shared future or integrating you into their long-term plans? Were there any visible signs of sort of contentment or security in their sort of demeanor these are, again, probing questions, but yeah, overall, this combination for surface reactions suggests that outwardly they appeared confident, authoritative, and focused on long-term stability. Their reactions likely conveyed a sense of taking your connection seriously and potentially seeing it as part of a larger, stable future. So they may have, seemed particularly pleased with aspects of your interaction that aligned with the values of structure, success, legacy, those kind of things. All right. Okay. Next, we're going to be looking at the internal sensations and feelings, emotions that may have been going on for them at the time. So this is quite an intriguing combination. It suggests to me a sort of a complex internal state, really blending enthusiasm with passion and inner conflict and strategy thinking. So it's a real interesting dynamic here. Did you notice or did you sense any sort of internal struggles that between their sort of excitement and their and caution? Did you notice that? Were there any sort of moments where their enthusiasm seemed to be maybe masking other emotions? Did you notice any signs of internal sort of restlessness or a desire for action, kind of fidgety maybe? They might have felt a sort of surge of passionate energy, wanting to sort of move the relationship forward while simultaneously experiencing doubts or concerns. Perhaps they were internally strategizing about the relationship, feeling both excited and cautious about the potential outcomes as well. Maybe this is characterized by or because of their particular role in life at the time. They have sort of a tendency to strategize, maybe. The Knight of Wands represents, passion, adventure, impulsiveness. Internally, this suggests they were likely feeling this sort of energetic, enthusiastic, that kind of energy. Did they seem to be sort of holding back any impulsive thoughts or desires? Again, trying to sort of strategize what they said that they felt passionate about internally, but sort of verbalize it in a calm way. Was there that felt sense? Did you tune into any of that? Was there any sort of a sense that of them wanting to take action or make bold moves in your relationship? They might have been feeling, again, even a rush of adrenaline in your presence, like really standing on the edge of an exciting adventure while also calculating the risks involved. That's the Five of Swords, brings an energy of conflict and tension or strategic thinking. Is why I'm saying it. So, as part of their internal sensation, this could suggest that they might have been sort of grappling with some inner conflicts or sort of competitive thoughts, right? So it's not like the Fool energy is here, where it's like a carefree attitude, jumping off the cliff. It'll all figure itself out on the way down, kind of thing. It's very I'm excited, but I'm going to be a little cautious, strategic about it. And so overall, I think this combination we're talking about internal sensations, internal feelings, indicates a dynamic and a somewhat conflicted internal state. They were likely, feeling a strong surge of passion and excitement about the connection, possibly with a desire to sort of take action or move things forward, take it to the next stage. And at the same time, they may have been experiencing some internal conflicts, perhaps, weighing the risks and rewards, feeling competitive or strategic about the relationship. And this could have created a sense of internal tension between their enthusiastic impulses and more sort of cautious, calculated thoughts. All right. So a little peep into the internal dynamics that were going on for them in that last connection. All right. Next, we're going to be looking at unspoken thoughts. So these are the things that they thought about, but they didn't necessarily mention it to you at the time. And what we have here is the Five of Cups and the World. So to me, this is an interesting, a fascinating contrast, really, moving from a sense of sort of loss or regret to a feeling of completion and wholeness. So it's a real interesting interplay. Did you sense any sort of underlying sadness or maybe regret that they didn't express openly? Were there moments where they seemed to be processing or coming to terms with something internally? Did you notice a shift in their demeanor during your interactions, as if they were sort of reaching a new sort of awareness or understanding. They might have been thinking that they've wasted so much time focusing on what went wrong, but now I see the sort of bigger picture of what could be. It's that kind of realization that I'm talking about here. Perhaps they were mentally reflecting on past mistakes or missed opportunities while simultaneously realizing the potential for a new, more fulfilling chapter with you, right? So, interesting dynamic here. The Five of Cups really, it indicates a feeling of loss, regret, or disappointment. And in terms of the unspoken thoughts, I think this again suggests that they have been sort of privately dwelling on past issues or perceived failures, and this may be sort of influencing the shadow aspect of the strategizing that we saw earlier. Okay, so maybe coming from there. Were there any sort of subtle hints of melancholy or nostalgia in their behavior? And did you sense them sort of holding back from sharing certain thoughts or feelings? They might have been thinking that, I've been so focused on what I thought I wanted, but being here now makes me realize what truly matters, right? So again, there's a great potential for realization here. The world, on the other hand, brings an energy of completion and fulfillment and wholeness. And as part of the unspoken thoughts here, this suggests to me drawing a realization of potential or a sense of things coming full circle potentially. Did you notice any non-verbal cues suggesting that they were coming to a significant realization? That look on someone's face when they have an aha moment. Was there a sense of them seeing your connection as part of a bigger life journey or a cycle? Overall, I think this combination of unspoken thoughts indicates that there's a mental journey from regret to realization, and they may have been internally processing past disappointments or perceived failures, but simultaneously coming to a profound understanding about your connection and its place in their life. And I think there's a suggestion of a mental transformation, moving from a focus on what was lost to an appreciation to what has been gained or could be achieved. And they might have been experiencing a sense of closure on old issues and an opening to new possibilities with you. Okay, so these are the unspoken internal processes that are going on for them in that last meeting potentially. All right, next we're going to be looking at deeper reflections. All right, so we're going to be a bit more, probably ties into what they were thinking here, but let's see. So we have the Page of Wands and the Ten of Wands. Okay, so it's a combination that, to me, that suggests a contrast between feeling overburdened and experiencing a spark of new enthusiasm for potential in their in their deeper reflections. And I think that's this, like I said, it plays into that overburdened with past regrets potentially, but definitely looking at the newness of this relationship, this connection, what it can offer as a new adventure. Did you sense any underlying stress or pressures that might have been feeling, the burden of past experiences? Were there any moments where they, despite seeming weighed down, that they sort of showed flashes of excitement and new ideas, very much in the context of what we've already explored? We're looking at what we already explored, but in a deeper, right? These are deeper reflections that may have happened to them afterwards, but this is the building blocks of those deeper reflections, really. Did you notice any sort of internal struggle between their responsibilities and their desires for new experiences? Did they even speak about those things out loud? They might have been thinking that I'm carrying so much right now, but being with you, really ignites a new sense of possibility. Perhaps they were reflecting on the weight of their commitments while simultaneously feeling a sort of flutter of excitement about the potential in your connection. The Ten of Wands represents burden, responsibility, and sort of overextension, really. And in terms of the deeper reflection, this suggests to me that they have been feeling overwhelmed by their current life situation. Did they mention or allude to any sort of heavy responsibilities or stresses in their lives? Maybe some in those past relationships, maybe there's financial commitments to past partners and children, something like that. Was there any sense that they were trying to balance multiple commitments or expectations? So a few options there to choose from. They might have been reflecting that, I've taken on so much, but I don't want my obligations to hold me back from exploring this new connection. Yeah, that's the kind of thing that I'm getting there with the Page of Wands. You know, it brings an energy of new beginnings and enthusiasm and potential. And so, as part of their deeper reflections, I think this really does suggest that there's sort of this budding excitement or openness to new possibilities, at least. So, did you notice any moments where their energy seemed to sort of lift, as if inspired by new ideas or possibilities? Were there hints of them, wanting to approach your connection with fresh eyes or renewed enthusiasm? Um, Overall, I think that the combination of, in the context of deeper reflection here, indicates there's a complex internal state once again, right? This is the theme throughout this reading so far. There's a suggestion of newfound enthusiasm and potential, and they might have been, deeply reflecting on how to balance their exciting commitments with their desire for new energy. Sorry, not exciting, existing commitments, right? So some of their existing commitments might be in their mind, but they're also open to the exciting nature of the potential of what's to come in this connection. And so this could manifest itself, as internal tension between feeling overburdened and feeling inspired. It's a real tension of opposites, really, in that regard. All right, so next one, we're going to be looking at the lingering impressions, the leftover of that last connection, that was something that stayed with them for moments after, maybe days and weeks after the last meeting. And we have the Queen of Wands and the Knight of Pentacles. And this interesting combination to me suggests a blend of passionate confidence and a steady practical consideration in the lingering impressions. Okay, so we've got this passionate confidence and steady, stable, careful, responsible, almost, but in a sort of dutiful way. Did you notice a mix of enthusiasm and caution in their demeanor throughout that last connection? Were there moments where they maybe seemed to balance their excitement with practical considerations? Again, the strategic sort of practical element coming in there. Did you see any internal conflict between wanting to move quickly and wanting to proceed carefully? Was that noticed? They might have been thinking, I'm excited about where this could go, but I want to make sure we build solid foundations. It's those kind of thoughts, really, that I think were left with him. Perhaps they were reflecting on how to sort of combine their sort of natural charisma with a more methodical approach to developing the connection for this person. All right. The Queen of Wands, like I said, it represents confidence, charisma, passionate energy, and in terms of the lingering impressions, to me, it suggests that they were feeling empowered and optimistic about that last meeting. Did they exhibit any signs of increased sort of self-assurance or charm after your connection? Were there a sense that they were inspired to take on a new challenge or opportunities related to the connection that, as that meeting came to an end? They might have been left with the impression, like, I feel so alive and confident when we're together. But I also want to approach this thoughtfully. These are the kind of patterns, I think, that were left with this person in that last connection. Overall, I think this combination, it indicates a dynamic internal state. They likely left your interaction feeling energized and thoughtful. Okay, so on one hand, they may have felt a boost of confidence and enthusiasm, and perhaps seeing exciting possibilities for the future. And on the other hand, I think they were likely considering how to approach these possibilities in a grounded, in a practical manner. And I think this could really result in a balanced perspective where their passions, they're tempered by a desire for stability and a long-term success. So I think it's a really healthy, lingering impression that was left on that last connection for them, and really approaching it in quite a mature, sensible way, but in a very positive way. So let us look at the final pile, and this is going to be about future intentions. So how may they be projecting forward, and what may they be thinking about? We have the Four of Cups and the Six of Cups. So quite an emotional sort of look forward, I would say. There's a mix here of nostalgia and potential dissatisfaction or reevaluation in future intentions. So there could be a slight change of where they expected to that they were going to go. But did you sense any inclination from them to sort of revisit past experiences or memories? Were there sort of hints of them feeling unsatisfied and wanting more from the relationship, or at least not to repeat past experiences? Did you notice any sort of tension between cherishing what you have and sort of desiring something new? It's an interesting sort of mix here. They may have been planning to sort of reconnect with shared past experiences, thinking that I want to recreate some of our best moments together, maybe like that. This is what I'm getting from the nostalgia. Perhaps they were considering ways to deepen the connection beyond its current state. It could be that too. So a number of options there. What have we? What we have is sweet, but I feel there could be even more. That kind of thing. All right. So like again, a number of options to choose from there. Um, we see the Six of Cups here representing nostalgia, but also innocence and past connections. So in terms of future intentions, it could suggest they may be planning to draw on past experiences and emotions, potentially. Did they mention any desire to revisit places or activities from your shared past? Maybe that place that you met that for the first time, something like that. That's what I'm picking up here. Was there a sense that they wanted to recapture a certain feeling, or maybe a dynamic from earlier in the relationship or the connection? Take it or leave it. Again, this is a group reading, so if you resonate with that, then pick it up. But if not, leave it for someone else. Yeah, I think they might have been intended to bring a more sort of playfulness as well, innocence into the connection. Maybe thinking that I want us to rediscover the simple joys we used to share, something like that. The Four of Cups brings an energy of contemplation, reevaluation, sometimes apathy or dissatisfaction. And so it could suggest that they were planning to sort of reassess aspects of the relationship, maybe. Did you notice any signs that they might be seeking something more or different in the connection? Was there that? Was there any indication that they were contemplating changes or new directions for your connection? I think basically it's hinting at a sort of time for change in your connection. Whatever tune into that, see how that feels. But overall, I think the combination future intentions indicates it's a complex look for sure. They may have been planning to revisit or draw inspiration from past positive experiences, possibly hoping to sort of recapture certain feelings and dynamics. At the same time, there is a suggestion of dissatisfaction or maybe a desire. I think desire for something more. That's where I'm getting. I don't think that the relationship dynamic is going to, in their eyes, they don't want it to stay the way it is right now. There is definitely change on the horizon for me. And I think I think that's what's being hinted at in this Four of Cups. Okay, so let us now turn to the final card, and the final card is the Divine Oracle, the Divine Feminine Oracle, and we're going to use this card to draw down some guidance. Okay, and the card is Rita of Cassia. And so Rita of Cassia, also sometimes known as Saint Rita, she's associated with patience, with perseverance, um, and healing generally. She's often invoked in seemingly impossible situations, and she's known as the sort of patron saint of difficult marriages, parenthood, loneliness. So the probing questions here to consider potentially could be, how might the themes of patience and perseverance apply to your current situation? Are there any aspects of your connection that led or that feel challenging or in need of healing? How could embracing Rita's energy here of compassion, forgiveness, influence your relationship? This card might be encouraging you to persevere through any current difficulties, really suggesting that with patience, with dedication, even the most challenging situations can be transformed. Okay, perhaps it's advising you to approach your connection with a healing mindset, thinking, by offering understanding and forgiveness, we can overcome past hurts and build stronger bonds. Rita's energy is often associated with finding peace and reconciliation in difficult circumstances. Okay, so are there any unresolved issues or conflicts in your connection that could be of benefit from would benefit from a patient, compassionate approach? How might adopting a more forgiving attitude change the dynamic in the relationship? Okay, this card, it might also be suggesting to look for the potential for growth and transformation, even in the challenging aspects of the connection. Okay, she also represents the power of faith and the ability to maintain hope in those trying times. And so, how can you cultivate more patience and understanding in the relationship? Are there any situations where you need to have faith in the process of the connection itself, even if progress seems slow? Okay, so overall, I think Rita here, in this card, this final guidance suggests embracing patience and perseverance and a healing mindset in your connection. I think it encourages you to approach challenges with compassion, understanding, really believing in the potential for positive transformation. So this card, again, reminds you of the power of forgiveness, the importance of maintaining hope and faith, even when faced with difficulties. All right, so I hope that serves you. I hope that's useful to you. And I'd love you to go ahead and drop a sun into the comments if you're claiming this reading for you that has been useful. Thank you for trusting me, Maverick Mystic, as usual. And I really look forward to doing this again soon. Until then, take care. Hello and welcome in card number 3 to this your reading. We're looking at those impressions that were left in that person at last connection that you had. We're going to start with the anchoring card. This anchoring card is going to set the theme for the reading, and should you resonate with this card and this theme, then this is the reading for you. But if you don't, I'd love you to go ahead and choose from a different pile. So the opening card is the Knight of Cups, and really this represents romance, charm, idealism. And in the context of this reading, I think focusing on what they were thinking and feeling during your last connection, I think this card to me suggests a romantic and emotionally driven state of mind. Did you notice any particular romantic or dreamy energy from them during your last interaction? Were there any moments where they seemed especially in touch with their emotions or intuition? Did you sense any grand gestures or idealistic thoughts about your connection? They might have been, they may have felt a strong urge to express their feelings, perhaps through words, perhaps through actions, or even through creative means. Perhaps they were viewing your interaction through a rose-tinted lens, focusing on the magical aspects of the connection. The Knight of Cups indicates to me there is a approach to love and emotions that is very romantic. And in the context of your connection, this could suggest that they were feeling inspired and ready to pursue their heart's desires. Did they express any romantic ideas or plans for the future? Were there a sense of them being swept up in the emotions of the moment? They might have been thinking that every moment with you feels like a scene from a romantic movie that they want to sort of cherish and celebrate the occasion. This card also brings an energy of sensitivity and emotional intelligence with it. They may have been particularly attuned to the emotional undercurrents between you two. How would you describe their emotional openness during your last connection? Did they seem more inclined to follow their heart rather than their head? Overall, I think that this card, the anchoring card here, suggests that during your last connection, they were likely in a very romantic, idealistic, and emotionally open state. They may have felt inspired by your interactions, perhaps seeing your relationship through an idealized lens, this rose tinted kind of lens. This card, really sets a tone, I think, for emotional expression, romantic gestures, and a sort of willingness to follow the heart here, and that'll set the tone for the reading. All right, so let us now begin. We're going to look at the surface reactions of the person concerned in that last interaction that you had. Okay, so to me, this is a powerful combination. The Empress and the World, two very powerful cards, and I think it suggests that their surface reactions were characterized by abundance, by a nurturing energy, a sense of completion or wholeness. Did you notice them sort of exuding a particularly nurturing or caring energy during your last interactions? Were there sort of visible signs of contentment or fulfillment in the demeanor, dreamy kind of energy? Did they seem to be sort of embracing or celebrating the current state of your connection? They might have appeared especially warm or welcoming, perhaps making efforts to ensure your comfort or your happiness. Did they pull out a chair for you? Were they particularly close to you? Were they paying more attention to you? Was their body language may have conveyed a sense of openness, confidence, as if they felt sort of completely at ease in your presence? The Emperor, or the Empress, sorry, really represents fertility, nurturing, abundance. And in terms of the surface reactions, this to me suggests that they have been projecting an aura of care, of generosity. Did they engage in any nurturing gestures or actions during that interaction? Was there a sense of growth or sort of blossoming in how they related to you? Another sort of specific example that you may have picked up on, they may have reacted with sort of visible joy to any shared moments, perhaps laughing easily or showing physical affection more readily than usual, more tactile. The world brings an energy of completion, of fulfillment, integration. So as part of their surface reactions here, this could indicate a visible sense of satisfaction with where things stand between you two. Did you notice any sort of reaction that suggested they felt a sense of achievement or maybe completion regarding the connection? Were there any signs that they viewed your relationship as part of a sort of bigger picture or a life journey, we could say? Overall, this combination for surface reactions to me suggests that outwardly they appeared nurturing, content, fulfilled. And I think their reaction likely conveyed a sense of abundance, completeness in your presence. They may have seemed particularly at ease, as if all the pieces of the puzzle had fallen into place. There's really a suggestion here to me that they were visibly celebrating the current state of the connection, perhaps seeing it as a culmination of something beautiful. Okay. We're going to turn to the next pile, which is sort of internal feelings. This is something that they were emotionally connecting to. This is their internal emotional experience, we could say. So again, two powerful cards. We have the Magician and the King of Cups, suggesting really, again, a blend of emotional mastery and creative potential in their internal states. Did you maybe sense a deeper emotional intelligence or control from them, even if you sort of, even if it's not openly expressed, we could say? Was there any moments where they seemed to be maybe channeling their feelings into sort of creative ways or productive energy? Did you notice any signs of them sort of feeling empowered, capable of manifesting their desires, that kind of thing, through the Magician's energy here? Possibility, real creator energy. They might have felt a strong sense of emotional balance, able to sort of really navigate complex feelings with grace and with wisdom that we can get from the King of Cups. Perhaps they were experiencing a surge of creative inspiration, feeling capable of transforming their emotions into something tangible. Emotional alchemy is the ability to sort of take the emotion of joy, take a drop of joy onto anger to create passion. For example, that's emotional alchemy. What did you notice or feel that they were particularly adept at navigating the emotional landscape? They might have felt a strong sense of emotional balance overall, I think. I think the King of Cups also represents emotional maturity, that compassion. And again, that balance really comes from there as well. Feeling capable of um, uh, mastery, and that's the big word that I keeps coming up for me here. There's a mastery of their emotional landscape. Do they exhibit any signs of providing emotional support or understanding, even if in those subtle ways? Was there a sense of them being calm, a calming presence amidst any emotional currents that could have been between you? They may have been feeling also a deep sense of empathy and connection, maybe thinking that I'm not only understand my own feelings, but I can truly resonate with yours as well. There was a connection between the two of you as experienced by them internally. Um, yeah, I think the other thing is that the magician brings in an energy of manifestation, of power, and having all the sort of tools necessary to really create what one desires. So as part of their natural sensation, I think this suggests a feeling of empowerment, confidence, capability. Did you sense any internal excitement or readiness to take action on their feelings? Was there sort of hints of them feeling particularly resourceful or creative in your presence? These are some of those probing questions that can help us to sort of, unpick the experience. Overall, I think the combination of these for internal sensations to me indicates a dynamic, potent internal state. I think they were likely feeling a profound sense of emotional wisdom, control, combined with a surge of creative, manifesting energy. Internally, they may have also felt capable of not only understanding, but really navigating complex emotions, but also they were there able to channeling these feelings, into concrete actions and creations, very specific, intentional, we could say. This could have, created a sense of internal power, potential, as if they had both the sort of emotional intelligence and the practical tools to really shape not just the connection, but where the connection might be going. There was a real visionary kind of energy associated with that creative energy as well. Okay, all right. So now let us look at some unspoken thoughts. This is the mindscape. What was going on in his mind? What was he thinking about that he may not necessarily have shared? We have the Star and the Six of Wands, and it's quite an inspiring combination, really. It suggests that their unspoken thoughts were filled with a sense of triumph, hope, optimism about the future. Did you sense an underlying current of pride or accomplishment in their demeanor? Was there moments where they seemed particularly hopeful or inspired, even if it's not explicitly expressed? Did you notice any sign of them silently celebrating the connection? you know, they may have also been thinking that we've come so far together. I'm excited about where we're headed. Perhaps they were internally visualizing a bright future with you, filled with possibility and potential. The star really indicating this guiding North Star kind of energy here. The Six of Wands, it represents victory, recognition, success. And in terms of the unspoken thoughts, I think this suggests that they may have been feeling a sense of triumph or achievement about the relationship itself. Did they seem quietly confident or proud about any aspects of the connection? Was there a sense that they maybe felt your relationship had overcome a challenge or reached a significant milestone? It's that kind of energy. They may have been thinking that they feel like you've been on the right path, that you're on the right path. Everything we've been through has led us to this beautiful moment, kind of thing. The star really brings an energy of hope, inspiration, renewal of faith, really. So as part of their sort of unspoken thoughts, it suggests there's a deep sense of optimism and trust in the future of the connection in general, I would say. Did you notice any sort of non-verbal cues, maybe suggesting that they were feeling inspired or hopeful? Was there a sense of them sort of seeing your connection as a source of healing, renewal? Overall, I think that this combination really indicates a very positive, forward-looking mental state. They likely felt a sense of accomplishment about the relationship and how it stands at the moment, really combined with a deep well of hope and optimism for the future. There's definitely a suggestion that they were silently sort of celebrating your connection while also feeling inspired about its potential. So they might have been sort of experiencing a renewal sense of faith in the relationship, really seeing it as a bright star guiding them towards this promising future. So very optimistic, very positive overall. Okay. All right. So now let us take a look at the deeper reflections. These are sort of more profound reflections that the person was having post that last connection. Okay. And we have the Chariot and the Seven of Cups. Okay. Interesting. It's an intriguing combination. It suggests to me there's the deeper reflections were a mix of exploring various possibilities and a drive to move forward with determination. Did you sense any internal struggle between multiple options or desires? Did they sort of seem a little overwhelmed with the future potential for options? Was there many options being spoken about? Were there any moments where they seemed to be weighing up different paths for the relationship? Did you notice any signs of them trying to channel their dreams into specific actions, concrete actions? These are some of the questions that might help to discover some of the deeper reflections that they may have been having. They might have been thinking that there are so many ways our relationship could unfold, but I need to sort of focus and choose a direction. Perhaps they were mentally exploring various scenarios for your future together, while also feeling a strong urge to take decisive action. I think this person doesn't necessarily like to not take action. I think they're sort of there's so many options ahead of them, but I think something drives them to really take action. Okay, with one of those options. So don't be surprised if that gets expressed anytime soon. The Seven of Cups, it represents choices, but it also represents fantasy, sometimes illusions. And so in terms of deeper reflections, I think this suggests that they have been sort of contemplating various possibilities or dreams of relationship, and they're trying to sort out what's realistic, what's attainable, what's possible, what's just a pipe dream. It's that kind of mental interplay that's going on at the moment, I think, with so many possibilities, an abundance of possibilities in this connection. Did they, mention or allude to any dreams or aspirations of the future together in that last connection? Was there a sense that they were trying to sort of discern reality from fantasy in the feelings or in their plans? They might have been reflecting, saying, I see so much potential in us, but which path should we sort of take? How do we turn these dreams into reality? That kind of thing. The Chariot, however, it brings an energy of determination, like I said, and control, forward movement. So as part of their deeper reflections, this to me suggests that there is that strong desire to take charge and to really move the relationship forward. So did you notice any indications of them really wanting to take control and make decisive moves in the relationship? Was there a sense of them trying to harness their emotions and really channel them into a clear direction? Okay, so these were definitely some of those deeper reflections, I think, that were going on for them. It's a fairly complex internal state. On one level, they may have been sort of exploring these multiple possibilities and dreams of the relationships, perhaps feeling a little bit overwhelmed by the options. And at the same time, there's a strong suggestion of them wanting to take charge and really move forward decisively. So they might have been deeply reflecting on how to really channel their various desires and ideas into this focused path forward, balancing the sort of the allure of multiple possibilities with the need for that clear direction and that action taken, which can create such forward momentum and relief, really. And so now we're going to be looking at the lingering sort of impressions, after that last meeting, and often hinting at what we've already explored, really, what really stayed with them afterwards. Okay, and we have the Wheel of Fortune, the Page of Swords, and it's a real dynamic combination. It suggests that their lingering impressions were a mix of sort of recognizing life's changes and a keen curiosity about what's to come, really. did you sense any awareness from them about a turning point or a shift in the relationship? Was it even mentioned? Were there moments where they seemed particularly alert or inquisitive about the future? We've had that vision casting that's going on there. Did you notice any signs of them trying to gather more information or insights about where things are headed? There's definitely a forward-looking aspect to this entire connection. The North Star being what's stayed with them, I think. They may have been thinking that things are changing between us, and I'm eager to understand where this is going. Perhaps they were left with a feeling of anticipation, as if on the sort of cusp of a new chapter in the relationship. We have the sense of wholeness and completion and time and change happening here. So there's definitely a moment, there's an inflection point in the relationship that I sense here for sure. There's a sense of fate as well, but also some sudden changes. It's definitely a change in the horizon. And it suggests to me that they've sensed a significant shift or opportunity in the connection. Did they express any feelings about luck or destiny? Did they mention any of those words in the relationship and your connection? Was there a sense that they felt things were evolving or moving in a new direction? They might have been left with the impression that they feel like they're a pivotal moment, and I think they need to stay sharp to see where this can lead you both. The page brings an energy of curiosity, mental agility, new ideas. So as part of their lingering impressions here, I think this suggests that there's a keen interest in understanding and analysing the changes they're perceiving. Did you notice any signs of them, wanting to communicate more or maybe ask questions about the relationship? It's a real clarifying energy here. Was there an air of youthful enthusiasm, a fresh perspective in how they engage with you? This is the kind of energy that was left over from that last connection. So it's a real combination of, in these lingering impressions, it indicates a state of alert anticipation, we could say. I think they likely felt your interaction. They left that feeling that something significant was shifting in the relationship. I think they're eager to understand and to engage with these changes. I think there's a sense of intellectual curiosity combined with an awareness of fate, maybe of a larger force at play here. So they might be feeling both excited and slightly unsure, maybe keen to gather more information. I think that's what's indicated here, where the intellectual sword, gather that more information. I need to know a little bit more where this new turn of events can take you both. All right. So next, in the final pile, we're going to be looking at the future sort of projections and intentions and what they may be. Okay. And it's it's an intriguing combination here, really, with the Four of Cups and the High Priestess. I think it involves a mix of deep intuition and a desire for something more meaningful. Did you sense any sort of inclination from them to explore the deeper, perhaps the unspoken aspects of the connection? We're talking energetic, we're talking the soul connection, we're talking these kind of subtle bonds. Were there sort of hints of dissatisfaction with the status quo, i.e. that desire for something more? Did you notice any signs of them wanting to tap into their intuition or their subconscious regarding the relationship? Were they speaking in those tongues? They may have been planning to delve deeper into the spiritual or the emotional aspects of the connection, maybe thinking that there's more to you than that meets the eye, and they want to explore that potentially. Perhaps they're considering ways to bring more depth and meaning into the relationship. The High Priestess really represents that intuition, that hidden knowledge, and that subconscious. So in terms of future intentions, like I said, I think this suggests that they may be planning to trust their own inner voice a little bit more, maybe, when it comes to the relationship. I think they're open to that. Did they mention any desire to explore the spiritual, the intuitive aspects of the connection? I think that's a question that would be well to sort of be open to exploring. Was there a sense that they may want to sort of uncover hidden truths or potentials in the relationship? There's truisms in all relationships, and these like meta truths that sort of bind the relationship together. Whether that's the truth of mutual respect being like a foundational block in a relationship, for example. There's these truisms that have to be sort of encountered, explored, be curious about. And once we do, they really form the foundations of a really stable relationship. They might have been this person might have been intended to create a more space for introspection and deep connection. I think generally, I think they want to move beyond the surface level interactions, really understand each other's inner worlds and truths. I think the Four of Cups, though, there is something left here. It brings an energy of contemplation, reevaluation, sometimes apathy or dissatisfaction. But as part of the future intention, it could suggest that they may be planning to sort of reassess aspects of the relationship that feel a little stagnant or maybe unfulfilling. There's some exploration there to be had. Did you notice any signs that they may be seeking something more or different in the relationship? I think overall, the combination, though, for future intentions indicates a sort of complex outlook, but they may be planning to tap into their intuition, exploring this sort of deeper, perhaps even mystical aspects of the connection. And at the same time, there's a suggestion of a disconnect or discontentment of some kind with the ordinary, or a desire for something more fulfilling. And I think that's coming from this knowing the spiritual dimensions, because I truly believe that every relationship that we ever get involved in has a spiritual element to it, because it adds to our growth, our own spiritual knowing of ourselves in relation to somebody else. This ability to reflect back at ourselves, aspects that we may not have known about ourselves and our potential, etc. So I think really the message here is coming from this intuitive knowing that there is great potential in this connection for spiritual growth, available for both of you at this time. Okay, so let us now turn to the Divine Feminine Oracle for the final guidance, and in this case it's Lilith. And Lilith is a powerful, complex figure, often associated with sort of primal feminine energy, independence, and really embracing one's shadow self. So this is interesting, actually, this has come up because, as I said, in the spiritual realm, we've actually got a hint here of the shadow realm. We've got the shadow here appearing, the shadow and the light, and also in this pillar here, the shadow and the light. And so it's interesting that this has come up, because I think it's about embracing one's shadow self, and she represents freedom from sort of societal constraints and the courage to be authentically oneself. But we have to really know oneself deeply, and that involves going into the shadow. So how might embracing your own power and your own authenticity affect your connection? I think that's just a question to ponder. Are there aspects of yourself or the relationship that you've been sort of hesitant to acknowledge or to express? How could asserting your independence and your desires enhance the bond? Okay, this card really, it might be encouraging you here to embrace your whole self, and including the parts that you might consider dark or unacceptable, suggesting to me that true intimacy is going to come from showing all facets of yourself. And I think there's a wholeness card here, because it's calling out this wholeness that's desired by this other person as well. That's what I think is being indicated by the spiritual connection. They don't just want the surface aspects of you, they want you completely. And I think that's going to really help and support the growth of both of you and the relationship itself. Are there any social expectations also, or self-imposed restrictions holding you back in the relationship at this time? How might embracing your sort of primal instinctual nature affect the dynamic between you? Have you ever explored that? Have you looked at that? Have you given space for that primal aspect? Because we all have a primal aspect within us, and when we banish that aspect of us to the woods, hoping that it doesn't show itself in societal circles, then that doesn't serve us. Ultimately, it will come out sideways. It will always be there. It's not like we can get rid of it. So it's better to embrace it, to look at it with openness and honesty. And I think this container of this relationship is really allowing that to be a possibility for that to happen. So, again, are there any also areas where you need to maybe set firmer boundaries or stand your ground in this connection? How can you honor your individual identity and your independence within the relationship? And so these are just probing questions. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. I think overall, the Lilith card here as a final guidance suggests embracing ultimately your authentic primal self within the connection. And I think it encourages you to break free from any constraints or expectations that don't serve your true nature. And I think this card really reminds you of the power of authenticity, of the importance of asserting your needs, and the value of really embracing all aspects of yourself, even those that might be considered taboo, okay, or difficult. Those may be real powerful portals of exploration for you to enter through. I think, it's really advising you to approach this connection with raw honesty, trust in your own power. Do not be afraid of your shadow aspects of yourself, or the relationship. It's a real call to deep authenticity, primal connection, reminding you that true intimacy comes from embracing and sharing your whole self, okay? So if that has resonated, I'd love you to go ahead and drop a moon for that feminine primal energy into the comments to let me know that you're claiming this, that this has resonated and is supporting you. Thank you for trusting me, Maverick Mystic, with this reading here today, and I really look forward to doing it again soon. Until then, take care. Hello and welcome in card number 4. We're going to begin with the anchor card in just a moment. This anchor card is going to be used to really set the theme for the reading and for you to tune into whether or not you resonate with what's being shared. If you don't, then I'd love you to go ahead and choose from one of the different piles available. And if it is, continue and we'll go deeper. All right, so let us begin. So we have the 8 of Cups, and the 8 of Cups represents a journey really of emotional transition, I would say, walking away from something familiar in search of maybe deeper fulfillment. So in the context of the reading, I think focusing on what they were thinking, feeling during that last connection, this card to me suggests that there's a state of emotional reflection and potential transition, really. Did you sense any underlying restlessness or dissatisfaction from them during the last interaction? Were there moments where they seemed maybe emotionally distant or contemplative? Did you notice any signs of them reassessing the emotional aspects of the connection? These are some of the sort of probing questions that may help to sort of uncover what may have been going on. They might have felt a sort of pull towards emotional growth. Maybe perhaps they were thinking there's something more that they need to explore, both within themselves and the relationship. Perhaps they were mentally taking stock of the emotional journey together, maybe considering what it's been, what has been fulfilling and what might be sort of lacking. The 8 of Cups really indicates a need for deeper emotional or spiritual satisfaction. That's the heart of the 8 of Cups. And it's really, did they express any feelings of wanting more depth or growth in the relationship? Was there a sense that they were emotionally preparing for a change or some kind of transition? They might have been thinking, I value what we have, but I feel there's a deeper emotional connection we could be exploring. This card also brings an energy of courage to really leave behind what was comfortable in search of what's truly fulfilling, right? There's a difference in those two. How would you describe their emotional engagement during your last connection? Was it different than usual? Did they seem to be in a state of emotional reflection or introspection? So overall, the 8 of Cups to me, as the anchoring card suggests, that during your last connection, they were likely in a state of emotional transition or contemplation. They may have been feeling a need for deeper emotional fulfillment or spiritual growth, possibly reassessing aspects of your connection. This card sets a tone, I think, of emotional journey and the courage to really seek greater meaning in the reading. All right. First part we're going to look at here is going to be, the surface reactions, that they would have experienced in that last connection. We have Two of Cups and the Five of Swords. So this is a real interesting and complex sort of interplay here between conflict and connection. Did you notice any tension or any conflict in their sort of outward behavior, even if it's subtle? Were there moments where maybe they seemed to be sort of struggling between confrontation and connection? That sort of tension is what I sense here. Did you observe any shifts from a sort of challenging interaction to a more harmonious one, for example? Or vice versa. Was that happening? They may have appeared defensive at first. There is a sense of being a little defensive here. They softened into it later throughout the conversation. Perhaps their body language sort of perpetuated or fluctuated between being closed off and inviting as they were sort of grappling with opposing impulses. I think the Five of Swords, represents conflict, represents tension, or a sense of maybe having to win at a cost. It's that kind of energy. In terms of surface reactions, I think this suggests that they have been maybe exhibiting some signs of struggle or maybe defensiveness potentially in the connection. Were there any moments of disagreement or misunderstanding during this connection, during the interaction? Did you sense any internal conflict in them, perhaps maybe manifesting inconsistent behavior, something like that? They might have made a sharp comment, then sort of immediately tried to smooth it over, showing a struggle between confrontation and the desire for that harmony. Okay, so these are some of the dynamics that I'm picking up with these two cards here. But look, the Two of Cups, we've looked at the Five of Swords there, but the Two of Cups brings an energy of connection, mutual understanding, and and partnership. As part of the sort of surface reaction, this indicates there's a visible desire for harmony and emotional bonding. So despite any tensions, were there any clear moments of connection or attempts to reconcile? Did you notice any non-verbal cues suggesting that they wanted to maintain or deepen the bond? Overall, I think the combination of these two cards with the surface reactions to me suggests there's a complex emotional landscape here. Outwardly, they may have been struggling with conflict impulses, perhaps a desire to assert themselves or address issues, while simultaneously wanting to nurture the connection. So I think their reactions might have seemed inconsistent, maybe alternating between moments of tension and moments of warmth. And this could indicate that while there may be some underlying issues or conflicts, there's also a strong pull towards maintaining and valuing the relationship. Okay, so a little bit of conflict there in those surface interactions. What we're going to look at now is what were the internal feelings and emotional landscape for them in that experience. Okay, so we have the Two of Swords and the Six of Swords. Okay, so the combination here suggests their internal state was characterized by, I think, a decision-making process and a sense of transition, moving away from difficulties, as we saw in the anchoring card here, setting the tone. Did you sense any internal struggle or some indecision from them during the interaction? This is what comes up for me once again, this sort of, were they indecisive? Did you notice any signs of them trying to find sort of mental peace or clarity? We have that with the Two of Swords. Were there moments where they maybe seemed to be mentally preparing for a sort of change or a transition? So they may have felt a little torn between two choices or perspectives, maybe thinking that I know that I need to make a decision, but I'm not sure which path to take, for example. Perhaps they were experiencing a sense of mental relief, as if they were moving away from troubled waters towards calmer seas in their thoughts about the connection. the Two of Swords really represents a state of internal conflict, I think, at decision making or emotional stalemate. So, in terms of their internal sensation, this suggests to me that they have been feeling stuck between two options or two perspectives. Did they seem to be sort of weighing up the pros and cons internally about some aspect of your relationship? Hesitancy there? Was there a sense that they were trying to maybe balance logic with emotions in their thoughts about the connection? These are some of the probing questions that may help to sort of explore this. They might have been feeling a need to remove their emotional blindfolds and to face the truth about the connection, about the relationship, but really struggling with the courage to do so. That could be what's being indicated here. The Six of Swords brings an energy of transition. Okay, so moving away from troubles and sort of mental progression. So as part of their internal sensations, I think this suggests feeling, of leaving difficulties behind and moving towards calmer emotional waters, we could say. So I don't know if you noticed this sort of internal relief or feeling of progress in their demeanor. Maybe that was the option available there for you. Was there an indication that they were mentally preparing for a new phase in the relationship? Was the conversation of that nature potentially? So look, overall, I think the combination of internal sensations here indicates that there's a state of mental transition. I think they were likely grappling with a decision or trying to find a balance between conflicting thoughts and emotions. I think at the same time, there's definitely a strong sense of moving forward, perhaps feeling that they were progressing beyond past difficulties, confusion. So there's definitely progress here happening as well. I think internally they may have been experiencing a mix of uncertainty and hope, sensing that a significant change or a decision is going to be necessary for the growth in the connection. Okay, and so now we're going to turn to some internal thoughts, but these are really unspoken thoughts, really. These are, I say internal thoughts. All thoughts are internal, aren't they? But these were kept to themselves. So this is what was going on in his mind, but I don't think he expressed them, or this person expressed them. So with the Knight of Wands and the Moon, we have this dynamic combination suggests to me that their unspoken thoughts are a mix of passionate impulses and deep, perhaps unsettling emotions or intuitions. Okay, the Moon does that for us. It's really talking about the unconscious here, and sometimes this activates primal fears. But did you sense any underlying resistance or maybe a desire for sort of action that they didn't express openly? But were there sort of moments that they seemed to be holding back stronger feelings or impulses? Did you notice any signs of them grappling with uncertainties or these fears beneath the surface demeanor? So they may have been thinking that they're feeling a strong urge to take the relationship to the next level, but again, they're sort of afraid of the unknown consequences. It's that indecisiveness that's really there for them, I think, at the top of their mind. Perhaps they were sort of mentally exploring passionate ideas for future together, while simultaneously feeling this sort of unsure about the depth of their own emotions, I would say. The Knight really represents passion, impulsiveness, and a desire for adventure. So in terms of the unspoken thoughts, I think this again suggests that they have been entertaining bold ideas or feeling a strong urge to take action in the relationship. But there's some sort of hesitation going on there, I think. Did they seem to be restraining any impulsive behavior or statements maybe? Was there a sense of maybe unexpressed excitement or enthusiasm about the connection? I know this is subtle, but these are sort of probing questions that I would ask. They may have also been thinking, that they want to sweep you off your feet with a sort of grand gesture, but something is holding them back. That's the message that I'm getting here. The Moon, however, it brings an energy of mystery, of intuition, and sometimes fear, like I said, or maybe illusion. So as part of their unspoken thoughts, I think this suggests that they were also dealing with deeper, perhaps unconscious patterns, emotions, uncertainties, maybe some limiting belief patterns woven into this experience, I would say. Did you notice any subtle signs of emotional complexity or confusion in their behavior? Was there any indication that they were, trying to understand or trust their intuition, but, their intuition about your relationship, but didn't know quite what to make of it or how to do it? Again, probing questions. I think, though, this sort of combination for the unspoken thoughts pile here indicates a real complex internal dialogue. I think they likely felt a strong, passionate energy about the connection, but perhaps with ideas for bold moves or exciting developments, and at the same time they were probably grappling with deeper emotional currents, uncertainties or intuitions that they couldn't quite articulate or know how to listen to. This could create that tension between wanting to act on the passionate impulses and the need to navigate the mysterious, possibly unsettling emotional depths of the relationship. Because I think there is a opportunity here for real emotional depth in this connection, and that could be stirring up some uncertainties for them. Okay, so that's what's going on the top of their mind. Okay, so let us now explore deeper reflections, and we may see a carryover from past, what we've explored so far. And so we have here the Five of Wands and Justice, and this combination to me suggests their deeper reflections were centered around the desire for balance and fairness. And so really mixed with this sort of awareness of conflicts and challenges. So, some of these fears that were emerging that we've explored already, could be rooted, because this is the deeper reflection, right? So we're going really into the sort of the root cause, we could say. And I think really it's based on fairness and justice, a desire for balance and that fairness. So maybe did you sense any internal struggle between their sense of what's right and the realities of your situation? Maybe there were moments where they seemed to be sort of weighing different perspectives or trying to find a fair solution. Did you notice any signs of them sort of grappling with competing desires or ideas about your relationship? These are some of the undercurrents, we could say, that's informing their thoughts, behaviors, emotions. And so they might be, thinking that I want a relationship to be balanced and fair, but there are so many competing factors to sort of consider. Could be a narrative that's being woven in their head. Perhaps they were mentally trying to reconcile different aspects of your connection, reflecting on how to sort of address any imbalances or any conflicts, making up some shortfalls. It's that kind of thing. I think ultimately justice represents fairness and balance, but also truth. And in terms of the deeper reflections, I think this really suggests to me that they have been seriously considering the sort of equity and the long-term viability of the relationship in a fair, balanced way. I think did they express any concerns about fairness or balance in the connection? Do you recall anything of that? Was there a sense that they were maybe trying to make an important decision based on some careful consideration, that kind of thing? They may have been sort of reflecting that we need to address these issues head on if we want to sort of move forward in a healthy way. That might be some of the questions that they had. The Five of Wands, it brings in that energy of conflict and competition and challenges. And apart from, as part of their deeper reflections, I think this suggests that an awareness of obstacles or disagreements that need to be navigated that are in the connection right now. And so, did you notice any indications that they were mentally preparing to address conflicts or challenges? Did they voice it? Was there any sense of them trying to sort of find a way through competing interests or desires? Did you state anything that was important to you, but may not have been on their radar at the time? That kind of thing. Look, overall, the combination for this sort of deeper reflection indicates a thoughtful yet potentially conflicted internal state that they're having. They were likely deeply considering the fairness and the balance of the relationships, perhaps recognizing areas that need to be sort of adjusted potentially. And at the same time, I think they were aware of challenges or conflicts that exist either within the relationship or in the external factors affecting it. And so their reflections might have been focused on how to navigate these challenges while maintaining a sense of justice and equilibrium in the connection. I think it's coming from a good place ultimately, but these are concerns. These are the deeper undercurrents as we explored, remember, which again, the subconscious will affect our conscious reality, whether we're aware of it or not. Okay, now we're going to look at some lingering impressions. What was the thing that stuck in their mind? What was something that was repeated over and over in their mind after the conversation, that last connection? Okay, what stuck with them? So we have the Three of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles. And so the combination here to me suggests there is a lingering impressions were focused on nurturing and practicality. Maybe and collaborative. There's a collaboration here, collaboration in the relationship, really. So, doing this together. Did you sense any increased focus on sort of practical matters or material stability in the interaction? Because that's something that's really stuck with them. Were there any moments where they seemed particularly nurturing or supportive in a tangible way? It's like a real caring attitude there. Did you notice any emphasis on teamwork, building something together, that kind of stuff? They may have been thinking that, we make a great team and together we can sort of create something stable and beautiful. I think that was what was left there. The real potential for you both to create something special. Perhaps they were left with a strong desire to contribute their skills and their resources to nurture and to sort of strengthen your shared goals. That could be indicated there. The Queen of Pentacles, it represents that practicality, that nurturing, material comfort, we could say. And so in terms of the lingering impression, I think this suggests that they have been really focused on how to care for and support your relationship in intangible material ways. So I don't know if they maybe expressed any ideas about creating a more comfortable, more secure environment for the relationship. Were you speaking about home and not a house? Was there a sense that they were thinking about how to blend emotional nurturing with practical support? I think, it's quite a comprehensive sort of pondering, we could say, that's going on here. They may have been thinking, left with the impression that they want to use their resources and skills, like I said, to create a solid foundation for the future together. There's definitely a thought and a desire for future projecting and thinking about a future and how to practically make that happen, make it a reality. Because there is a real collaborative energy here that I see. This sort of working on something together towards that common goal. And I think this suggests a strong appreciation for teamwork. That shared effort in the relationship, which is a good quality to have in a healthy relationship. Did you notice any signs that they were, valuing your combined efforts or shared skills? Was that mentioned? Was there a sort of an air of wanting to build something lasting together? This is what is left lingering in their minds post the last connection. Overall, I think this combination indicates that there's a very practical and a collaborative mindset, and I think they likely left your interaction with a strong sense of wanting to nurture the relationship through tangible means, shared efforts. I think there's an emphasis on combined resources here as well. So maybe you had a practical conversation about sharing the resources financially here, maybe. But definitely the skills, working on, you both bring your own set of skills into the relationship, and really the efforts to build something stable and meaningful together is what's being expressed here. I think they may have been seeing the relationship as a joint project that really requires both the nurturing care and the practical collaborations for it to flourish. There's a lot of intentionality that's going to have to be put into it. I think that's what they see. It's a very practical approach to it, and why not? That does bode well, I think, for long-term success in any relationship. Next, we're going to be looking at future intentions. And again, this will tie into what was left lingering and how they're projecting it forward into the future. And so we have the Tower and the Four of Wands. Wow, there is a real contrasting set of cards there. This is a real contrasting combination. To me, it suggests there's a future intentions involve both celebration of stability, and an awareness of potential upheaval and transformation. So I think they're not naive in maybe anticipating what a transformational experience this can be together, right? So there will be some change. So I don't know if that last meeting you sensed, there was plans for celebration or commitment alongside a readiness for significant change, as we see here. Were there any hints of them wanting to establish something stable, yet also break free from old patterns? It could be that. It could be indicating that. It could also mean, I don't know if you noticed any tension between their desire for security and the need for sort of dramatic transformation. That could be something that they want stability, but something drastic has to change. For example, I'm not sure if that was voiced. They may be planning to take the relationship to the next level of commitment, while also preparing for the sort of radical changes that this might bring. So, I can speak for myself. Going from being in a relationship to them becoming a father, that is transformative change. So not sure if that's relevant in this case, but that's the type of change that I'm talking about here. And so, yeah, I think the Four of Wands really represents celebration, homecoming, and stability, as well. But in terms of future intentions, I think this to me suggests that they may be planning to create or at least acknowledge a stable foundation in your relationship. I don't know if they mentioned any desires for creating a home together, for example. That could have been something they said. There was a sense that they want to celebrate a milestone or maybe an achievement in the relationship, something like that. They might be intending to propose a more formal commitment. Maybe they're thinking that I want to celebrate what we've built, but I know that this will also change everything. The Tower, it really brings an energy of sudden change, upheaval, revelation as well. So as part of their future intentions, this suggests to me a sort of readiness or a need for dramatic transformation. I think they're aware of that, and I think to a certain extent they're okay with it. They're preparing for that, and it suggests, there's a readiness, I would say. So I don't know if you noticed any signs maybe that they were prepared to shake things up, or maybe to address deep-seated issues of any kind. Was there any indication that they were anticipating or planning for a major shift, or within the relationship dynamic? Was it voiced? This is definitely something that they're future casting may happen. So I think, look, the combination for this future intention indicates to me a complex outlook for sure. They may be planning to establish or celebrate something stable, joyful in the relationship, perhaps taking significant step forwards. And at the same time, I think there's awareness of the intention of allowing for dramatic change or transformation to occur. And I think their intentions might involve creating a secure base from which you can both weather these necessary upheavals or revelations. If something's about to be revealed between the two of you, there could be a tension between wanting to build something lasting and recognizing that some structures in the relationship may need to be torn down and to be rebuilt, whatever they may be. So interesting to know how that resonates with you. Please leave comments. We do read them, and I'd love to know specifically about that one. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to go and transition to the last card, which is going to be the Divine Feminine Oracle Message, Guidance, and Support. And in this case, it's Hestia. And Hestia is she's the Greek goddess of the hearth, of the home, of the family. So interesting that we have that here with the Four of Wands as well being expressed. Okay, and so let's see. So she represents domestic harmony, the sacred flame of home, and how might the sort of themes of home and comfort and sacred space apply to your current situation? Is that relevant? Are there aspects of your connection that need more nurturing or tending to? Like that sort of sacred flame. How could you embrace Hestia's energy of creating harmony and sanctuary, influence the relationship? How could that, could that influence the relationship, having a more harmonious, homey kind of vibe? This card might be also encouraging you to create those safe, nurturing spaces within the relationship, really suggesting that focus on building. So again, we have that with the Three of Pentacles, this building. So focus on building a spiritual, emotional home together in a real collaborative way. Perhaps it's advising you to tend to the sort of the hearth of your connection, thinking, dedicate time and energy to keeping the warmth and the light of your bond alive, right? There's some effort that's going to have to be put towards that. Hestia's energy is often associated again with finding that sort of peace centeredness. It's a sort of sacred space within oneself and one's relationship in that order. So find it within yourself, that peace, that centeredness, and then express that and share that and build that with others. So, how can you create more moments of peace and harmony in the connection? Are there ways you can maybe make your shared spaces, physical and emotional, more sacred, more nurturing? I think this card might also be suggesting to really cultivate a sense of coming home, when you're together, whether that's in a physical space or just in each other's presence, really. I think that's what the message is here, to be honest. So how can you find, how can you balance nurturing your relationship with maintaining your own inner sanctuary? Are there rituals or practices that you could maybe incorporate to honor the sacredness of the union, okay, of the connection? When two people who are invested in their own awakening, their own work, come into union, a third emergent property emerges out of that, and that is the relationship, the union itself. And so it takes on a life of its own in that it needs its own nurturing and focus and attention. What may be good for the relationship may not necessarily be atop of the agenda of one particular individual, but actually will serve the relationship. So we have to sort of be aware of what the needs are of the relationship, whether that's quality time, etc., whatever it may be. But yeah, overall, I think Hestia is really a card, is focusing on creating harmony, comfort, and a sense of home within the relationship. So it encourages you to really tend to the sacred flame, the sacred nature of the union, of the connection, nurturing it with care, with intention. And this card really reminds you of the importance of creating a safe, warm space where both of you can be yourselves fully, right? And so the appearance here of Hestia, I think it might be really advising you to approach your connections with a sacred space. And, it needs regular tending and care. Don't ignore it. Don't abandon it. Don't, neglect it. I think that's the right word. It's really a call to create moments of peace and centeredness together, to make the shared experiences feel like a coming home, right? As I said, and to really honor the spiritual aspect of this union, okay? So if that has resonated, I would love you to go ahead and drop a flame into the comments just to let me know that you're claiming this. And I thank you for trusting me, Maverick Mystic, with this reading here today, and I really look forward to doing it again soon. Until then, take care.